Hello everybody, welcome back to Gelvin Valley by Wild Wes. We're on Farming Simulator 15 and enjoying ourselves planting next year's harvest. This go around we're attempting to do it by direct planting. I don't think I've tried that before. It'll make it go quite a bit easier if I don't have to till all this up and then put the seeds in the ground, but I am going to have to do some tillage, whether I like it or not, because I've made a couple real estate deals, got some more property, took on a bunch more debt, so this is going to be an interesting year of farming here. So maybe if I can get some crops up and running, it'll be all for the best. I think I'm still on quick growing cycle, so this will hopefully be out of the ground and ready to go before too long, and we can start paying some bills, because I am very much in debt. And, maybe before continuing, I need to check on my sheep. I last go around, I think it was in the previous episode, maybe the one before, I purchased a boatload of them. Oops, did I go too far? Maybe one more here. Oh, that's pigs and beef. Nope, I went too far. Alright, sheep, 600 of them. Just want to make sure they have enough in their trough. Oh, that's good to see. Working on a wool pallet. Need to have things to sell, hopefully during the year, where I can earn some money on the side. I have apples over there I'm trying to sell. And another thing that I haven't looked at here recently is timber. It seems like a long time ago where I planted some trees in a couple of the placeable areas on the map, and at some point those are going to be ready to harvest. I've been trying to wait as patiently as I can, but I do have a whole bunch of trees, and really, this is something. I was looking at the map in the editor before I came on to do this particular session and trying to figure out what I can do with the trees, and there really isn't anything in the map in terms of value added options. You can sell the logs just like you can on any other map, and then if you turn it into wood chips, that is another option. You can sell it, I think, one place and one place only. At least that's all I could find. And it's basically you sell it at the area where it's sold as kind of a mulch. I don't know what you call it. Maybe I should just look in here real quick and I'll know. Wood chips. Where be you? Compost. Oh, I even have compost soil in here, but I don't know that I have a compost maker. Oh, here's wood chips. Alright, East Hills biomass, 213 a ton. I don't know if that's better than selling the logs themselves, but I noticed in the map, and I'm not going to change the pricing and everything in the map. Wes set it up the way he wanted it, so I'm going to stick with it at. But I noticed in the sell trigger, this is at 0.4 times what the normal rate would be. So this should be at least double what it currently is, and even a little bit more. So that's an option, or I can try to put in a placeable sawmill or something and turn it into pallets. And actually, let me see here. Is it down here? Oh, I can't click on those icons. Yeah, this is a northern end of the map. I get turned around when I look at it here. I think it's somewhere over here is where the east biomass place is. The pallet sale is kind of up in this area where you sell the wool. I guess they call that a spinnery. So I know you can sell pallets, and I've used, it's a sawmill Marhu created, and I've had a lot of fun with it in Farm Sim 15, so I know it would do the trick. I just need to find a placeable area to put it down. The cool thing about that is not being built into the map. I'm going to be forced to pay for it. So, you know, it could go here. That's a big area. Here's one. I really don't know. I got a bunch of trees down here, but I also have a whole bunch over here. Here's a regular sawmill. So part of me was wondering, maybe I place it up here in the town of Dunfarming, somewhere up on top. And, you know, no matter how you cut it, there's going to be some some work in hauling logs around, whether you like it or not. So I'm going to have to just buck up and get used to having to haul some of that to other places. But I know it's been a long, tough slog on this map, and part of it's probably just my own ineptitude, you know, is in terms of being able to do it in business. Part of it is a reluctance to just cheat, you know, not wanting to just take the easy way out and give myself a whole bunch of money. I guess I kind of did that, you know, with the Bank of Haggenstep mod, but hey, I mean, it's a loan. This isn't a grant, so I'll be paying it back. Never you fear. So, but, you know, like I say, I mean, with a little bit of patience, all those trees, you know, I've been waiting a long time for those, and it just takes a while for them to grow up. Oh, I see a spot I maybe missed over here. I'm going to try to... Oh, and then, of course, I'm doing damage to this beautiful tractor as I try to plant off of the... Oop. Missing my keys here. There we go. I don't know if this is the best way to do this or not. Yeah, good. I'm glad to see it isn't costing me more seed to plant the area. Somehow it just knows where to plant it and where not to. You know, so another area, you know, this is kind of curious. Maybe if Wes sees this, he could comment. There's a wood chip storage area up there. And it's kind of curious as to why it's up there. It's just an interesting area of the map. You know, we haven't gone there really, haven't had a reason to. But if you look at the road network, you know, you drive up here, you can kind of circle around it. There's a couple sheds to store things in, and then you can store some wood chips. And really, there isn't a forest over here to speak of. There might be a handful of trees. You know, there's other areas that have all the forest. So it's just kind of curious that it's up there. Oh, I better drive. I'm going to be driving off into the brush if I'm not careful. So I would have to look at that area again. Maybe I could put the sawmill up there. You know, in some ways I would like that because I know the sawmill is going to be kicking off wood chips. It's close somewhat, you know, to the other sawmill. And if it's kicking off wood chips, you know, this will have, you know, right next to it, kind of a ready place to store the wood chips. And what I might do, even if there isn't room, is maybe modify the map just a little bit to make room, because I think it may make sense, you know, to try to put it up in that area. So, I don't know, I'm just kind of talking out loud here and just dreaming for the future. Obviously the main intent in here is to farm, but it's always helpful to have alternative sources of revenue for when it's off season. Not that we have much of an off season here. You know, with a fast growth cycle, we definitely keep ourselves more than occupied. Try to get this corner planted and pushed out so I can continue on down the hill. And I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but forestry is one of those things in the farm sim world that it seems like you either love it or you hate it. You know, there's matter of fact, I know there are some people who buy Farming Simulator for the purpose, and only the purpose, of doing forestry. You know, they don't do any farming, and it's amazing to watch, you know, some of their streams, you know, some that do this because they're very talented running those, you know, big machines that handle logs, you know, just like in real life. And I just don't have that kind of dexterity in my fingers. I've loaded logs before by hand, you know, kind of with a front end loader of a tractor. I know they got various other tools, you know, the wheel loader maybe you can use, but anymore, I mean, if I have an auto loading truck trailer, and I just kind of skip all the formalities and load them suckers on lickety split. So that's kind of something I'm looking at. Incidentally, since I'm chatting about it, may as well go see. Oh, there's so many placeables I'd like to use, but there's one in here somewhere, if I can find it. There's another placeable. Oh yes, pellets. You know, I could turn them also into wood pellets. This is something else I'll have to study. You could turn it into pellets, and maybe that's another piece of equipment that could go up there. And then you can distribute the pellets, and I think you have to put down some other placeables. Oh, there's just raw power. Here it is. Here's what I was looking for. So, yeah, see, I don't have enough money. It's $250,000, $250,000. It's actually a reasonable price for a sawmill and putting it down. You know, as opposed, so much of the time, a lot of times you get these mods and they're cheap. You know, this one here is 14.5. You'd never have that 14.5 for year end. So, oh, and it's all in German. Something about wood pallets. So I know you put it. Maybe it's a sell point for it. Yeah, don't really know. Yeah, and then you have some of these. These are $0 to put them in. No maintenance even. So I'm not sure why I have them. I think these are cuttable. These are larch wood and birch, maybe trees that are. You can cut them using the wood processor. But anyway. Have a sawmill in here. I'm pretty sure I can sell the pallets just at a certain spot in the map. But you know, I don't see the other placeable. It's got to be in here somewhere. Ah, here it is. I'm going to buy it. Yeah, for $1. So this is like your sell point for the pellets. And I think it sells it kind of over time. So you could maybe make some money. Like I said, I have to study the code and see what wood pellets are worth, to see whether it'd be worthwhile to do this, to turn some of it into, and you know, it might be a place that you could take the wood chips and turn them into pellets, you know, kind of as another value add, versus just taking them over to dump them basically as compost almost at that one earthworks place. And then all sorts of veggies and everything else. Anyway, we are busy working, doing the real farming stuff, so I don't know, I can't help but, you know, when you get through a harvest and you're starting to plant the next one, you know, like the good book says, you plant in hope, and so there's many hopes for this crop. You know, we haven't done canola in a while, and there's hope also with other things we have going on. So definitely don't want to put in any more barley. Made that mistake by doing it twice in a row. You know, I almost think I did wheat twice in a row. You know, just silly. Now that I understand a little some of the mechanics in the background as to how the pricing model works, you know, it's just I need to do something different. And when you got enough property in here and you build up a big enough crop, you know, it takes more than 1 year even to fully recover, I think, you know, if you are to sell it. So, oops. Lost my momentum. So anyhow, that's a little bit on some wood. Wood products that hope to have in here. I think those trees, you know, and it's been a little bit since we've driven by and that I've paid attention, they're almost as tall. I've consulted the save game file. Maybe there's another way to do it too. You know, it kind of would be nice to know, you know, if you could walk up to the tree, and if there was, here's a mod idea, maybe walk up to a tree and it would just tell you stuff about itself. Pretty sure that wouldn't be that hard of a mod to do, because I almost think, you know, I may have a mod already in the folder that allows you to do it in the wood processor. You know, when the wood processor comes up to a tree, latches on to cut it, I think I have a mod where it tells you certain statistics about the tree, how tall it is, how much wood chips you're going to get out of it, or some such like that. So, you know, in real life, a forester is I think they call it a survey of timber, will go out and calculate how much timber's in a particular place. And I think they are doing it by eyeball. Maybe there's other techniques that they use, but a lot of it is the skill and knowledge and expertise of the forester that does it. So, I don't know, seems like if we need a mod in game to do that, so we could just walk up to it and tell, you know, what growth stage we're in. You know what? It's a reasonable enough idea. I'm going to try to write it down. The trouble is, I'm trying to drive a tractor at the same time. To turn it around. I just refilled with seed, and maybe I'll wait till I got a longer row. Off cam, I refilled with seed. I retrieved the other tractor. So it seems canola, when you're planting it at least, you know, it goes a little while before you're empty. So there's that mod idea. How about timber survey? There, I was able to scratch that out. In Farm Sim 17, there was a cool mod that someone made. I don't remember who, but it was very clever, where you could go out into the forest and you could mark the specific trees that you wanted to cut. It would just put a big old X on them, and so that, I mean, that's exactly what they do. And I remember years and years ago when my dad had some timber, you know, that was going to be cut, and going out there, not with him, but someone else, you know, was trying to figure out which one of the trees should be taken down. You know, I don't think it was going to be clear cut. And yeah, it was this big old, I don't know what it's made out of. Some kind of, it wasn't red, it wasn't orange, it was some kind of combination between the two. And then you just put a big old mark on the tree. I don't recall it being an X or anything like that, but it was some kind of a mark, you know, that told the sawyer, hey, this tree needs to come down, some of those kinds of things. So, but I don't think we have that mod in Farm Sim 15, and, you know, it probably could be added. I don't know how hard it'd be to take it backwards, but I'm definitely intrigued with this timber survey one, because I really don't think it'd be that hard to do. There's no multiplayer monkey business, you know, that would need to be done. And I think I already would have the code. I would just need to rob it from the mod that I already have, that someone else figured it out. So there's that. I guess I have trees on the brain at the moment, and they can't get ready fast enough, even though I got a lot in the bank at the moment. I almost feel compelled at some level to do something with it, because right now it's kind of just idle cash sitting there, and I have a feeling I'm going to go through a lot of it, you know, just getting through planting season and everything. So may just leave it there and then figure out what to do with it as soon as I'm done getting the crop put in. Yeah, learning about some of these other things, like, to see what Wes had in the map for forestry type stuff, it's kind of intriguing to me to see what he had here and see what I would need in order to, take care of the trees that I ultimately want to cut. But I wanted to continue from the last episode too, where I've had a number of episodes here recently. My problem is I get so scatterbrained and I move on to something else without even finishing a topic, and I'm sure nobody cares. I'm just trying to keep it somewhat organized. But I've been sharing about, one of my first summer jobs. One of my uncles that I worked for out in the strawberry fields, and we did irrigation, and I think the last time I talked about hoeing weeds, maybe it was one time before, I don't remember what all. Maybe it was a mushroom plant, areas where he had ground, and he was just kind of a fledgling operator at the time, and he since has grown it into a wonderful enterprise, and has continued, has had wonderful success. And I was just a tiny little cog on the wheel back in the day, and I remain grateful to him for, giving me a summer job, basically, as a place to earn a little money, to save up to go to college, university, to get the accounting degree that I have, and some of that kind of thing. There was one other thing I remembered. This has to do with the mushroom plant. I think last time or the time before I was describing, the smell of the place, and I'm sure, years later now, the mushroom plant is no more. Oh, dang it. There's a little bit of, I know this would happen. Oh, I see some up the hill too. Yeah, it's probably there's a lot of it. I maybe can't prevent all of it. I can do some here. The little stanglies that didn't get planted. I don't know if I'm just a little too wide or what the deal is. But anyway, my brother and I, while we were changing pipe for my uncle, we rode our bikes everywhere we were going. We rode our bikes, so we were in decent shape back then, and that also was inside the confines of this mushroom plant. And this mushroom plant, by the way, sat on, it probably was 100 acres at least. So a lot of it was farmable. That's the parts my uncle was in, and then there was just a lot of buildings and big heavy machinery and lots of massive bales of hay, kind of near the mushroom plant, where they were making compost or manure for these mushrooms that they were growing, and the buildings in which they did it. And given that it's a fungus, of course, it thrived in dark, damp places, or however they set that up. I have no idea how to grow a mushroom. So we were constantly in and around all of this. We didn't deliberately go where they were working, with their heavy machinery. And if they were busy, we tried to steer around them to stay out of their way. We were just a couple kids, and the last thing we wanted was to be stopped and questioned as to what in the world we're doing here. And I think I related before, we were never stopped, never challenged on it, or told to, hey kids, get out of here, or whatever. So someone must have known something. Maybe my uncle, said, hey, my nephews are going to be in here changing pipe for me, or doing whatever stuff I've asked them to do. I'll have them stay out of your way, but, I need them to be in there to do it. If stuff needs to be irrigated, well, it needs to be irrigated. There were other things we were in there too. Occasionally we were picking up rocks, I know on one area of it. So I think the worst we ever had it was driving a skid steer through there, maybe a pipe trailer. I don't know. But mainly it was on our bikes. Well, one time we were out there, I don't remember if we were changing pipe or what our particular task was in one day, but I think we were taking a break, maybe eating our lunch, and we were sitting kind of in the shade of some of those big straw bales that they had. And these guys bought, these guys meaning the mushroom plant, bought by the truckload massive bales of straw. And and so they had stacks of it kind of just waiting to be used. And so, yeah, we were just using it as shade and minding our own beeswax, and all of a sudden, out between a couple of the bales came these two little tiny kittens. And I don't know, my brother and we didn't have any cats at home at the time. And I can't say that I'm really a cat person. Frankly, after, through my life, I think I've grown more fondness towards dogs because dogs are just so much more warm, have a warm personality. Cats are too aloof for me. I know cats can show some affection, but I mean, it's almost like they expect you to earn it or something. And whereas a dog just gives it and gives it and keeps giving it, no matter what kind of a day you've had or what kind of a person you are, if you have a dog, I mean, they give you affection. So, but anyway, that's beside the point. At the time, it's like, oh, cool, here's these two little kittens. So we were kind of playing with them at the time and petting them, and we never did see a mother cat. So, man, it's missing little bits everywhere. I guess I can't cover everything. Probably part of it's because I'm just on a hill and I can't do anything about it. Might be the slope. Well, we never did see a mother cat or any other kittens. Someone, it appeared, maybe it was a truck driver or something, had put down a little cup that had some water in it. It appeared, and there was another one that maybe had some food. All we knew is when we got it, it was empty. So we went back to work, and we kind of talked about it in the afternoon. It's like, when we're ready to leave, if those cats are still there, maybe we need to do something with them, because we didn't see any mama cat or whatever there to take care of them. And so we didn't know if they had any food or anything. I mean, these were just tiny little kittens, not tiny as in just born, but young cats that would still be under the care of a mother cat, if she was around. And they were in between hay bales, and I'll repeat again, there was lots of heavy machinery. So for all I know, their mother was crushed between a couple bales somewhere, and maybe their sibling, who knows what may have happened. Or maybe the mother cat just had dropped them off here at one point and was out doing her shopping, and before she came back to get her kids. I have no idea. But we got to the end of the afternoon and we went back to those bales, and sure enough, those little kittens were still there. And this was in the days before cell phones and all that, communication stuff. We had none of that. Oops. So, in other words, we couldn't call home, and maybe it's a good thing, because I have a feeling I know what my mother would have said if we called home. Can we keep him, Ma? Can we please? She probably would have said absolutely not. I'm basically allergic to cats. I know some people have animals in the home. Frankly, the same is for dogs too. Any pet dander, I start sneezing, I get stuffed up, I can't do it. So at home, any animals we did have, I think up to that point was only dogs. They weren't in our home, they were outside pets. But anyway, we decided to take a risk, and there was two of them, so he tucked one inside his jacket, I tucked one inside of mine, and then we rode our bikes just under 4 miles home with cats inside our jackets. And I don't know if any of you have ever tried to ride a bike up and down hills, particularly up hills where you got to pedal hard. If you've ever tried to do that before while holding a live animal inside, basically, with just one hand on the handlebars, That ain't no small feat. I know I couldn't do it today, but I was I was in shape back then. Now I just have a shape. And that was how our family got a couple cats. And I'd have to ask my mom. I don't know if it was the first cats that we ever had on the place. I can't remember if I had sisters at that point. My parents had, five of us boys first, and then they had two girls. Of course, I always tell people they just kept having kids and trying until they had girls. That was the goal. Whatever. Whatever. So I can't remember if there was girls to dote on them, but what I also remember is, we basically took home a couple cats that were in trouble. I mean, they probably, if we hadn't seen them or done that, it wouldn't have been very long, and they probably would have died because one of them, as I recall, did end up dying, and the other one was on death's doorstep, and it was my mom who nursed it back to health. My mom was a nurse, I don't know if it was at the hospital or whatever it was, but she was a nurse in real life until she got married and had a family. Then we were her job, all of us kids. But I still remember I have this vision in mind, if you will, or this image of her with this tiny little, it wasn't an eyedropper. I don't know what she was using. Maybe it was a little, well, or was it an eyedropper? Maybe a little syringe, one without a needle, of course, where she was putting milk, trying to feed milk to this cat. And like I say, one of them flat out died. I think just one night, the following morning, just didn't wake up. And the other one, oh, I don't know if cats have seizures or what the deal is. It was making some of the weirdest sounds I've ever heard a cat make, and it was unresponsive. It's almost like, if you said, well, a human is snoring, they're sleeping and they're okay. It's just, they're making noise while they sleep. Well, this cat was making some weird noises, and it wasn't meows or I don't know what it was. But that's where I say, I mean, it could have been having a seizure. I mean, I don't think it was having a good time, but eventually he came out of it, and for many years we had a cat, and we got him from the mushroom plant, and I don't know, we stuck around the place decent enough, I suppose. So I guess our family owes its first cat, or whatever number it was, also to my uncle, and we got it from the mushroom plant at our summer job. So there you have it. I guess there's probably other stories that I could tell if I can remember them. There's a number of memories that come to, oh, you know what? I just thought of another one. But maybe I've already mentioned it, about having a bike. I think I've mentioned many times riding bikes all over, and, I lost my bike out in the strawberry field because of inattention on my part and not using the chain that my parents gave me to tie it up to something solid, and somebody ran off with it, and that's on their conscience, not on mine, but I should have been taking better care of it. All sorts of memories. Anyway, everybody heard the bell, so I think I'll close this particular episode. We are planting canola, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you for coming along for this episode. Take care.